Hello, beautiful. How are you doing today? So, in this crazy world right now, with the intensity of political stuff and injustice and war and the rise of AI, all this is leaving so many of us feeling quite at a loss, feeling confused, and mostly feeling disconnected, like something's going on, and we can feel like the angst, like something is slipping through our fingers. We have become, and we feel like we have become so disconnected from our natural state that there's serious danger looming, and it makes us feel very uneasy and disturbed and scared, quite frankly. And many of us, many teachers, many of us feel like somehow nature is the answer. And we hear it a lot. I say it a lot, like go to nature, go to nature, go to nature. And today I want to give an explanation why nature is one of the keys, one of the answers, and why it is so important for us and what happens when we connect with it. So, before I go into it, I just want to introduce this idea. Um, with everything that's going on in the world, it's very 3D, right? What we're feeling is like the divine connection is missing, and it's very distracting and taking our attention and disturbing us in our lives. What's happening is that we are obviously very, very attached to that 3D reality. Our identity, the world, what we believe we are, is completely identified with what's going on in the world, in the 3D world that is affecting us so deeply. What I want to bring up is, well, it's scientific, but it's kind of this feeling that I want to bring to you. You know, we're all made of atoms. Everything in the world is made out of atoms. But right now, I'll speak for us in our bodies. So we are made out of atoms. You may have heard, but I love reminding myself, and I looked it up before speaking, that there is an extreme amount of space inside an atom that is actually not filled with stuff. So atoms are made out of a nucleus, and then there's some particles that go around it, electrons and protons. And the size of the nucleus of an atom is a trillionth of the size of the atom. And then there's a few particles, not a molecule, no, not molecules, particles, whatever, protons, so orbiting around the nucleus. But 99.9999% of what consists of an atom is space, has nothing to do with the physical world. The comparison is that if an atom was the size of a big cathedral, the nucleus would be a little fly flying somewhere in the middle. And the reason I want to bring this up is that that space inside of us is actually a lot more of who we are, even though we are identified to our 3D reality, that somehow all these little material particles make us think that we're in a body that is solid and that the world around us is everything. What we feel, though, is that our sacred energy comes from being connected to the divine energy that's inside us. And that's where nature comes from. If you think of when you go to nature, how it makes you feel. I mean, if you take a moment to like sit with it and allow it to come to you, right? To really get a sense and feel your presence in nature. I know that for me, what it does, sorry, is I feel an openness. It's like something in me softens and widens and loosens at the same time as kind of lifting and straightening me up. One of my favorite meditation, I like to say, because it connects me to that, is, and maybe you've experienced it too, it's connecting to wildlife, actually trying to approach wildlife in nature. I used to live somewhere where there was a lot of deer, and the and whenever I hike or walk and there's a deer, try when you try to approach wildlife, try to imagine it right now. Like close your eyes, imagine you're in a trail and you come upon a deer across the path. If your goal is not to scare it away and you want to admire it and connect and have it stay there for a while, what is it that's the feeling that you get inside of you? For me, it's I feel like I have to relax and collapse and kind of widen and feel all the space between my cells, between inside of my atoms. That's why I brought it up. What it does is it disconnects me from all the noise, and it makes me focus to a place where I know that I must release all the tensions in me, all my thoughts about things and my emotions, so that I don't scare the animal and I kind of meet it where it's at. When we do this, this is the beauty of nature. It's that when we're in nature, and even if you're admiring a flower or a tree or the bark on a tree, when we go to connect with what is there, we truly, truly open up inside. So, what nature does with its magic and its beauty and the way it functions without all our noise is that it reflects to us who we truly are. It reminds us that we are like it, whatever it is we're encountering, that at some level we are that as well. And it takes us back to our natural state of being connected with the truth of who we are. Because that's what it is. Nature is the frequency of truth, of the truth of this life, because all the movements in nature, whether it's how they migrate, how they grow, or anything, comes from the force that exists in that space between the particles of the atom where God lives. When they move, they are connected to that. And when we're connected to them, to it, it connects us to that space inside us where the truth of who we are actually is. Yeah, I wanted to say it's like nature, when we're in nature, there's something that tells us like nature is in on it. That all of us seek so much in this life because we feel this disconnect and this absolute like something's wrong out here. Nature connects us to that it that we seek. So when we go in nature, the reasons why it works to reconnect us to the truth of who we are, to our divine essence, to the field of things and life force, is because one, it softens us. And we know that nothing happens when we are in tension, right? When we are contracted, we can feel it like we don't expect many miracles to happen from life or intuition to come when we're all contracted and fearful. So nature softens us, mostly if we see wildlife. It really makes us like, I see it like a spreading of my molecules. It's like I go horizontal. It's like I just loosen, lower kind of go to a frequency that is very different than the one that I usually live in. The other thing that it does that is connected is that it takes us to the present moment. And in the present moment, we are fluid, we are relaxed. With that softening, we relax. And I love this image of saying that we become like water. When we are without tension, when we feel the space between the particles of our molecules, that is 99.9% of what we are made of, we are like water. And when we are like water, imagine that something drops a rock on the water, a pebble in a pond. The rock will go in and the water will ripple out, and then it will soften and become calm again. So when we are in the moment, we are like water, and we relax and we adapt to whatever happens. And when we brace ourselves and we are tense, and we know it even like hardens our tendons and our fascia, and physically we become harder. When we are tense, we are like glass. And if you drop a rock or even a pebble onto a sheet of glass, it breaks. So nature puts us in a state that is reconnected with our divine essence by softening us and by loosening us into the present moment, where not only are we connected to the truth of who we are, but we are better equipped after that to, to receive the rocks that will land in our pond, in our lives, and we can just kind of go with it. Being connected with our divine doesn't mean that there are no more rocks being dropped on us in the world. It just means that we can navigate, deal with the impact with more grace and less breaking. And the other thing, like I said, nature connects us to our space self, not the self that is hard and thinking and solid. It connects us to the space that we are, the field that they call it in quantum physics. That's where the magic is. Magic doesn't happen in the physical world. Magic happens in the space that makes us the physical world. Magic happens in that space, and that space is where our divinity lies, where our true nature lies, and where God lives. And that is why going to nature is so, so, so beneficial to us. And I encourage you to find it, whether it's a little corner of nature, whether it's just like looking at the bark of a tree or the leaves blowing in the wind in a local park or in a flower pot in your house. Go to nature, connect with nature, and see what parts of you it reflects back to you, what it reminds you of, and what state you actually connect with when you connect with nature, because it reflects to us our true essence. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Go to nature. Nature is my answer. I know nature is my answer always, always, always. And until the day when we can naturally, whatever happens, just maintain that state of being that nature gives to us, we have to do it more and more often, just because personally I don't have the ability to sustain that state all the time. But every time I do an excursion into nature, I'm reminded. Then I come back to my life. Sometimes it lasts half an hour, sometimes half a day, sometimes 10 minutes, and I'm just right back into the heart of it. Hard, not heart, into the hardness of life. But nature always does it. So imagine you are approaching a deer. Close your eyes, and without even being there, you can even imagine how it would calm everything down inside of you. That's it for today. I love you. May you be in nature, be with nature, be with the force of nature.